Hey, before you watch this thing, hit subscribe, would you? Hi, it's the Blocks Podcast. My guest today is a buddy of mine over probably 10 years. He got a Golden Globe one time, and he got a Peabody one time, and he had a show on Hulu called Ramy, and now he's got a show on Amazon called Number One Happy American Family.
Happy Family USA. I forget
yourself.
sometimes. Yeah, no, you're good.
That's not on me. I watched 1.5 today, and what I learned something valuable, which is you can't do double time on Amazon. Meaning I wanted to watch 3, but I couldn't, out of respect.
Sure.
It's Ramy Youssef, everybody, formerly known as Cat Stevens. I had to do that joke. What?
I was wondering how long it was gonna take for like that kind of riffing. I was really happy. It was like right off.
Let's go right into it. I've been sitting on a lot. I've been sitting on a bunch. Somebody was in the studio earlier and said Ramy looks like a Mexican. So we really undercut him.
And then he left.
But the comment didn't. The comment lingered.
It's in the room.
Nice to see you. Why are you doing television? Meaning you're very good at stand-up. I didn't even mention your stand-up specials, which are very good on HBO. Feelings and More Feelings. Literally, those are 2 titles. How did you get, it feels like a dying thing.
Yeah.
It feels like a dying genre, but it's almost like you don't even notice. I can't explain it. Whenever people do TV shows, I'm like, they're so hard.
They're really hard.
And they're diminishing returns at this point.
Yeah.
What's the attraction for you? And the show is very funny, by the way. Like, it's an animated show. It's the animation's like cool and not. It's like stylized and like a little grimy and like it looks hand drawn and like
it's set in 2001. We wanted it to look that way. I think I just kind of got in a pattern with it, in a rhythm with it, and then you kind of keep thinking, oh wait, I want to try this thing with the format. I want to try that thing. I'm doing a stand-up tour now because I hadn't done it for anytime I was shooting TV, I didn't do any stand-up. Yeah. And then I get back to stand-up and I go, oh man, I really miss the immediacy of this. When I put out my first special, you posted about it and you actually put a grid post up and it actually blew my mind. You posted something on your thing and you were like, this special has great jokes, and it made me feel like the special was successful. That was all I needed.
That was the HBO one?
Yeah, the first one.
Great.
No, it really meant so much. It really meant
it had a great 9/11 joke. It had a great 9/11 joke. I love all 9/11 jokes, but this one was, first of all, it was from the Muslim point of view, which you don't always say. And it was the premise was it was kind of how successful it was, right? From Bin Laden's point of view, or it was it was even better than Bin Laden could have imagined.
The premise was just me asking if it worked, because it's if the whole point was to mess with America, it kind of bred so many kind of racist Islamic point of view.
Did 9/11 work?
Then we kind of at that point had Trump, and he was kind of going at everything constitutional, which now it's whatever,
Is the Muslim ban back on, by the way?
It never went away, and that's kind of, I think, the funny part of it is that I've always kind of been and it affected Egypt, because you still can't get visas from Egypt to come casually here. It's incredibly hard. So even when my grandmother was dying, her sisters wanted to come see her, and it was impossible. And
that was the thing that I didn't realize, because you just go Muslim man, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
But it was so many aunts and uncles and grandmothers, and it's not.
But that was during Biden, right? So it didn't change. It was just kind of there's a backlog, but then there's no effort to make the backlog. So one person calls it a ban, the other person calls it a backlog. And I think that's kind of what you see with a lot of
a high call volume. We just had a high call volume. That's all.
It's all kind of just language, yeah.
And last time I saw you were very in love, and I don't want to say what happened, but what I'm curious about is, your blocks are sort of not trip. I want to get into the emo ones.
Great.
Meaning, and these aren't really emo. What I'm curious about is how are you doing with being a person?
Yeah. The person I was very in love with, I got married to.
Did you get married?
We got married, yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
so that's what happened.
So we've been married, yeah. And that's been... Well, some of this, I kind of like wrote these down, and then because they all kind of lead to more emo things, but it being and I'm sure you know this, but it's so funny you were asking me about doing TV, because that has become this collision course with my personal life and with my marriage, because television never ends. There's almost no dopamine. It's like you hand in the first script and then they go, that's cortisol. Awesome.
It's
where's the second? Where's
cortisol.
The third? Where's the fourth? And then you finish writing the season while you're shooting it. Then you got to edit it. Then it comes out, and then you're kind of tensed for a month waiting for the numbers. And then if the numbers are good enough, they're going to pick up another season, and you got to start that room in a month. It's all really kind of, and so I realized,
it's like having 4 babies on your own. You have not, and then if you want to have babies with her, that's a whole other issue.
That's almost like where I'm getting to with television, where I go, wait, I don't know if I could do another season of TV right now because I do want to have a kid.
Right.
And so you asking that, just the back-to-back questions, that's what I've been kind of coming to
So
face.
you'd never really been in love before, right?
I know I definitely had tried, and I had definitely felt
but in love is binary to me. Had you been in love with your life?
But I actually think I can fall in love quite easily.
Oh, yeah.
But on a level, like I love that, I feel that emotion, and I actually think it's like an emotion to give freely and easily. I don't think, but the trying part is it takes a lot to maintain it, and so it's the same thing as, we love creating artistic stuff, but it's not just because we like it that it works. It's like you have to actually really work at it, and you have to kind of do things that you might not want to do, and kind of change parts of yourself, or not really change, but I think I think you give into ideals over habits sometimes, where you go, okay, well, I believe in the principle.
Tell me some that when you say that.
I think that something that I kind of have been ideally, I want to have this really robust work life and then this really rich family life. That is what I believe. But then I looked at the pie, especially while making TV, and I go, I'm giving all the energy at work, and then I kind of come home and I'm a dead horse. And then I go, okay, how do I show up and kind of be like, and I'm going to over caffeinate, and then I'm going to come home and be like, hey, I'm here. And it's so like wacky.
Yeah.
And then I'm kind of on the verge of getting an Adderall prescription just so I can kind of like sit with my wife,
save your marriage.
Just to be there, because I gave everything the whole day. And then you kind of find yourself so spent, and I find myself so exhausted. And then after 3 or 4 days, it crashes. And then I can't show up to anything, and so I have this desire to kind of, and I've kind of I think some of it when I was younger was definitely people pleasing. Like maybe if I think about when I first met you, I had a way higher people pleasing meter than I do now.
You are a pretty pleasing person in general. Like you're very kind, and you have a good essence.
Well, and I think it's part of my nature, but I think there was also the piece of it that was really it was almost frantic. I was almost kind of really feeling, hey, do you like me?
Right. You know what I mean?
And I actually, we never talked about this, but I auditioned for you once.
I know.
The Fahim Anwar, me and Fahim on the Nicole.
You and Fahim for Nicole Byer. And I have thoughts about that. Fahim's great, and I'm glad we cast him.
He's so good. But I ate that, though. I froze up, because this is what would happen to me. I would be so I hope they like me, that I would just show up, and then I would just be blank. I couldn't even do anything,
Yeah.
And then afterwards, Nicole called me, and she was like, yo, what was that about? You know what I mean? You're a good improviser. You didn't even improvise. You just said the lines. And Neal told you to improvise. You didn't even do it. And I was like, oh, yeah. And so there was this thing that I realized there's the essence part, which is I just like connecting with people.
Yeah.
I like the idea that I can make you smile, and people make me smile. I laugh pretty easily.
Yeah.
I find things really funny, except for earlier when Ari called me a Mexican, hurt. But then I kind of would add on to that, where I'd go, why didn't it hit the way that I thought it would? There was just some part of it that was anxious, more anxious than anything. And so I kind of let go of that a bit, probably since I last saw you. But then I got to this place where I said, okay, man, I gotta even out the energy, where I'm more interested in making sure my wife is getting what she needs.
Yeah.
And then that's where I go, oh yeah, I'm dropping the ball, because I'm so spent.
Did she say something, or did you just sense it?
She's super.
Yeah.
She's really. I think part of why we got married too is she's really. she doesn't have the ability to lie. She's not a good actor in that sense. But also
based on your audition, either are you?
Yeah. Based on that audition? No, but based on that audition, disaster.
No, you were still good. You were still good. You were still.
I was
your
a frozen
essence,
puppy.
Somebody said that being a movie star, you have to radiate goodness.
Oh wow!
Which is a perfect way. That's like what charisma is. But you radiated goodness in that audition.
But no improvisation.
So are you gonna? Do you think there's a way to do it, to have a taxing job and a marriage that you're pulling your weight in?
Yeah, I'm an optimist, but I think that's the trying love piece. Where you go, okay, I actually am going to have to.
Oh, yeah, like a legitimate sacrifice.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to.
Yeah.
I find myself now actively turning things down. I used to just be, hey, I'll get on a plane. Hey, I'll be there. I'll do whatever. And then, I was talking to Raphael Bob Waxberg, who made BoJack. And he was just really calmly, he was like, oh, yeah, there's this job that they wanted me to do, but it wasn't going to be in LA. So I just said no. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. You know, I said, wow, that's something to aspire to.
Yeah.
You know, he really was just plain and simple. Yeah, I just let go something that sounded really cool because it was going to mess up my flow with my family. And
yeah, that's it. And have you reaped the reward yet?
It's kind of happening
like
right now.
This week?
This is like a phone call I had yesterday.
Yeah, like
got kind
outside.
Of no, it's been this year more. Yeah, this year I started to make those adjustments. Yeah,
that's an interesting one because it's something I deal with within myself where I'm also good at comedy and like pretty good at relationship.
Yeah.
And like I'm like, I could be excelling at something right now instead of being here at this thing I don't have many natural gifts for. But you still have to make a concerted effort to. I'm still protectionist a little bit of like, no, I have my thing and which is again.
No, of course.
Like I work so hard. But yeah, I let me know how it goes. Cause I'm like, I have and are you worried about resenting her for it? I'm a resenter. So like I would worry about, making a sacrifice and then in the back of my mind be like, well, it's only because she made me. People make me. I'm an adult, but people make me do things.
No, I see that part, but then I think I saw that in my family and various things, and I just saw how that people just never let go of stuff. And it's really interesting too when you kind of see family dynamics where someone's upset at someone who's like now just a totally like an old person. You go like, dude, this person has no actual power over you. You know, I mean, they're barely getting through
two
themselves.
Adults, or you're talking about
adults. Yeah, I'm watching two adults kind of grow with that same pattern and all of that. And everyone, you know, like, it's not a critique even on that because everyone kind of does hopefully better than the generation before them. But for me, I don't have that resentment thing because I fully feel I made this choice, and I made this choice knowing this is how it's going to go. And it's only trended better, you know, for me. Even if I've had to change my working style, even if certain things, it's kind of like painful for a bit. And then, you know.
I had a question watching the show. What is with Amazon's homepage? I'm kidding. If Prime had a good homepage, if it didn't look like a rummage sale, sky's the limit. That's why I called you here. The family, it's a very like, it's 2001, but it could be 1960. Mm-hmm. Like, first of all, I don't know if it's based on reality, but like generations, cousins, all a family of 8 living together.
They are 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it feels like.
But it's so. Yeah. There's so much going on.
Look where you are on the cousin leaderboard. Be more like Kareem, then maybe we get you new clothes every year.
You're so sort of evolved, and again, I'm sure it's just whatever artistic license, but you're so evolved, and I wonder, at a certain point, did you watch the way your family behaved and was like, there's got to be a better way? Or do you think it's just when they were born and when you were born?
I think so much of it is like time, because if I was lucky to meet both sets of my grandparents, and then I look at my parents and I go, wow, my parents are so evolved.
Got it. Where were your grandparents from?
Egypt. Everyone's from Egypt. My grandpa grew up in a village, one of two people who could even read. And then he went on to be an interpreter for the United Nations, Arabic, English, French. Just the biggest, most important global conversation, and really wild from a place where no one read. So he kind of pushed the ball forward in this crazy way, career-wise. But then there were certain things, I think, emotionally for him where he was just like, yeah, I don't know how to do that. I kind of came...
and also, almost what I'm espousing, which is like, yeah, he's an interpreter. It's not his gifts. His gifts are language.
His gifts are language
that's
mastery.
A fucking cool thing to be able to do.
Huge, and changed the whole trajectory of our family, right? Like, brought us to New York.
How about your grandmother? Meaning, changed the whole trajectory of your family.
Yeah.
Brought everybody to New York, but it, again, from 1.5 episodes, was like, it's a little retrograde. Like, he's a little with an accent, it sounds worse, but like, do you know what I mean?
Well, so the fun thing for my family watching this show is there is definitely a lot of things that are super different. But because we got a whole room in, and this show is way more of a room show than anything I'd ever made.
Yeah,
like I think we're making like Ramy on Hulu. That was very much like, I'm like, okay, this is stuff I've been thinking about for a really long time. Some of these were like movie premises, some of these were whatever, and kind of crafted them into that. This show is very much, what's the funniest idea?
Yeah.
Hey, let's put your grandpa and your grandpa, and we're going to meld. So it's way less of the autobiographical thing.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it's the generational thing. And I think that's why, I'll meet people from Ohio who the way that their grandpa versus their dad versus them.
Yeah.
It's the same exact emotional pattern. You could just see it. It's like, okay, grandpa was this way, dad was kind of like a little more this way.
But it's like a Xerox where the copy is less.
And now we're more open, but we don't know how to fix anything.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's absolutely right.
Skills.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta hire guys to do almost anything.
Absolutely.
My dad can come over and like do all these crazy things. My dad's 7 years old and is... God bless him, like just still one of the most fit, strongest, knows how to fix things, new tech, old tech, knows how to do it,
That's funny.
So it's really funny. It's like there is this like emotional openness, but like no trade skills whatsoever.
That's a great premise.
It's like,
and that's why you dress like a Mexican, is because when guys come over, you're like, hey.
I'm aspiring to kind of like, this is the outfit.
You start with the outfit. You dress for the job you want.
It really looks like I could fix the water problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So the end of the first episode, the family basically is like, the title's from basically like, we're just going to not be Muslim.
We will change everything about who we are to fit in. We are #1 happy family USA.
And a part of me was like, Ram, why don't you do that with show business? Where, meaning like, just stop. You're making it, you centralize it.
Yeah.
And do you feel a debt of, because when you have like the only Muslim show on television, then every fucking Muslim comes up to you and goes like, thank you, brother, and da-da-da. And then do you now feel like, and now you're doing another show that's sort of centered around...
Yes.
It's the pilot is the day before 9/11. So do you feel like you're making the level of difficulty higher than you need to? Because that's what I watch. I'm like, dude, you just fucking...
Well, it's really funny. I just shot this movie where like my character's name is Jeff.
Great.
Jeff Abradazzi. He's just like this like Italian kind of guy.
Great.
And the director was like, I think out of just being like, I don't even know. He's just so thoughtful, and he went, his ethnicity is kind of like, and I said, no, that's great. I'll be Italian. I have no problem.
I love it.
But I think for me, I'm writing about the stuff that I kind of can't get off my mind.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask.
And then I kind of trust that I try to view it in decades. And this was something that like way back I talked about with Gerard. I'm just kind of thinking about something like decades, and going, okay, yeah, because there's certain things you're going to try to work out on a level, and then you're probably going to move on to something else, And I think for me, there's all these ideas in the tank and all these things that selfishly, when I do it, it's like I'm releasing something and then something else expands. And so I really enjoy it. And then I also think, because we made Mo too, right? And so it was just kind of like, that was a whole other lens on it. And that was its, its own, this really different story of like man versus system, and kind of sits in a totally different thing. But I'm kind of just chasing the stuff that I go, oh man, because
it's sexual identity, it's religious identity, it's any of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess I'm lucky that I don't, is it an albatross or is it a balloon? Do you know what I mean?
Well, because what I like about it is that it fits everything underneath it too. So I think when we were making Ramy, obviously it's you're in this space where you're talking about religion and culture on a certain level, but then you're also talking about dating, and you're talking about capitalism, you're talking about all these things. And so,
but by the way, do you get credit for it? Do you get credit? Because there's a lot of jokes in the cartoon,
that have nothing
that
to do
are
with
just fucking 2001 jokes.
They're just 2001
like
jokes,
Jay-Z
or just like
and Justin Timberlake and Enron.
No, I think people watch it, and even if they don't know, they know. I don't think anyone will watch something that's like just hitting a demographic lens.
It's boring. Yeah.
It's got to have all the other stuff, and I always make sure it does. And I actually kind of lead with that. I'm always saying, okay, what's the problem? Does the character have an insecurity, an addiction, a this, a that? And then now they're just going to say their problem in Arabic.
Guys, I'm not a good time manager. I seem like I would be, because I wear glasses and I wear collar shirts, that I'd be good with time. I'm not good with time management. I need to do stuff in a hurry, like, for instance, getting my calories in my stomach. Again, doesn't look like I do that either. Trust me, I do. And I don't, the reason I don't like lunch I don't really like breakfast that much anyway. I don't like meeting people for lunch. I'll eat a salad on my lap sometimes if I have time. But I've been a big fan of the protein drink space. That's modern talk. You say space, you hold space. There's the drink space, the protein drink space. I used to drink another one, and now I'm onto Huel. Sometimes I just don't want to spend time, and Huel is absolutely perfect. Oh, you know what Huel also has? They got the black edition, figures for me, but it's got caffeine. It like tastes like coffee, and it's got caffeine, which I like that. I like the caffeine. So now I don't have to like have two, like a goofball with two drinks. That would not be cool. I'm nothing if not cool. Look at me. I have the thing on camera. I brought my own Huel. I drink it for real. That's what's so exciting about the endorsement. Our friends at Huel and today's sponsor have you covered, guys. Spelled Huel, and their Black Edition is a complete meal so you can feel full, focused, and ready for your day. It's got very little prep, so you can grab and go. Huel's already sold over 500 million meals around the world. What have you ever done? And now it's your turn to try it. New customers get 15% off at Huel.com when you use code NEAL. Huel.com and use code NEAL. They taste so good. Huel shakes actually taste like a milkshake, and they come in delicious chocolate or vanilla. Lastly, Huel is incredibly affordable. With high-protein meals less than $3, it's a genuine budget-friendly option that I'm genuinely excited about because I'm a cheap person. My favorite, as mentioned, is vanilla, because it's got a whopping 40 grams of protein. That's a lot, plus 27 vitamins and minerals. Start saving time and money without compromising your nutrition today. That's 15% off for new customers using my exclusive code, NEAL, at Huel.com. Please see our description for the terms and conditions. Skip the stress, not the nutrition. Try Huel today for complete nutrition. Plus, it's 400 calories, so that's like a meal. So, hey, do you sweat a lot? Summer, probably do. Now would be the time. I mean, I sweat kind of all the time. I'm a sweaty guy. You wouldn't know what to look at me. I seem like this guy doesn't humidify himself, but he does. It's summer, so you're gonna be sweating a lot. I sweat a lot. I have rings on a lot of my shirts from my life. But I have great news for us, guys. Mando has just launched something to take sweat control to the next level, introducing the Mando Deodorant Plus Sweat Control Solid Stick. It's double protection. Finally, you get the odor control you love with Mando plus powerful sweat control. Don't wait. Grab yours now at shopmando.com and experience the double protection of Mando Deodorant Plus Sweat Control. What do I like about it? here's what I like about it. I like the flavors. They got bourbon leather. They got Mount Fuji. I like both those. I'm wearing Mount Fuji right now. It doesn't clump. It doesn't leave marks on my clothes. It smells good. It smells good for a long time. Some days I forget to put it on. Still don't stink. It does the job. Unlike other deodorants loaded with chemicals, Mando uses only premium ingredients like gentle mandelic acid to keep you fresh and dry. Double protection tackles both odor and sweat. That's why they put the word double in it. Mando starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use code NEAL at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. Shopmando.com, shopmando.com. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you. Mando's got you covered with deodorant plus sweat control. Say goodbye to sweat stains and say hello to long-lasting freshness. Hello. By the way, are there like Muslim patron saints? Meaning like, is there like I prayed in Catholicism? It's like I prayed to Saint. I don't even know them, but I know that they exist.
Yeah.
Are there like specific spells? I mean, that's basically what they are. Like, you got to pray to Saint Pete, whatever. Are there specific, or is it all just like the morning one, the like the time ones?
Everything is to God, so there's no personification.
Got it.
Then there's like, obviously the messenger, Prophet Muhammad, but you're not praying to. You're only praying to God. Right?
Got it.
And then.
And can you do like one specific hitters?
Yeah, you can. There's people who have like kind of. There are certain things where say, "Oh, say this if someone's ill." Say this.
Got it.
All of that is there. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
Didn't know that.
Yeah. I can give you any of them whenever you.
Fantastic.
Whenever you need.
I've
never actually. You came up to me at one point after you had done ayahuasca, and you were like, I saw. You were like, I understand. I saw something. It's not exactly what you believe, but I saw something.
It's not. It's not exactly what anyone believes, but it's something. It's a framework.
It really made me laugh.
Like, it's not that, but like I get it.
I was like Neal even has like notes on enlightenment.
No,
I get it. Just a couple things about the light.
I'm taking it. Well, the thing with doing a non, you almost have the problem. Not the problem with Islam, but it's fucking. You have to keep doing it all day.
Yeah.
So you couldn't even do a plot that didn't have it. You should do it. Just cut out the prayers.
You got to do 5 times a day.
No, I know. So, and this is what I've taken from Islam.
Yeah.
I try to journal 5 times a day.
No way.
Because somebody suggested, I was like, that's the Islam's right. Where like you forget and you gotta, oh fuck God, and then you do it. So I've been trying to. It's not 5. It ends up being like 2 or 3. But like
that's amazing.
Yeah, but
couple sentences.
That's I do a checklist.
Okay.
So you are saying that at a certain point, it's just your voice because it's based on what you grew up on. It's based on what you do all day.
It's based on like what I'm like what I'm obsessed with.
Yeah.
And then, but I also think that for me, I've been thinking about it where I have this thing in my head of. Even if we're just talking about it like a topic, which is so much bigger than a topic to me, but let's just say if it's like a topic, I'm like, yeah, there's like 1 or 2 more things that are burning in me around it. But then there's also all these other things that I'm really interested in. And that's also what's fun about getting to just act, because I think most of the acting roles I take, I'm not even playing someone who's, I'm just kind of, racially ambiguous and maybe
Italian.
I'll be Mexican.
Mexican. This guy can do a lot. Any of the dark hairs.
Any of the racially ambiguous brown hair, like just throw me in.
Market instability.
It's in some ways it's like a niche. It's like a niche market, especially in America.
Yeah.
With the ban.
Yeah.
They're limiting your audience. They're literally you're being shadow banned.
But comedy's been legalized. So
that's fucking it's a give and take.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do like some other. Well, okay, so that's what I was what I wanted to ask was, is your grandfather's Islam different than your Islam? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the other thing about Islam, in my understanding, is like you guys didn't have a Reformation, whereas every religion had a Reformation and kind of watered it down. Whereas you guys it's still pretty like, woo.
Yeah.
That's brisk.
Well,
So
there's an argument that I think a lot of the conversations that I've been inspired by is that we actually had a constricting where Islam, it got tighter. It got
interesting.
more. It got more, and a lot of that is attributed actually to what some people call kind of like Catholic Islam, where it kind of became, you have all these colonizing forces that have certain ideas around how people should be, but there's also this very, Islam is really all about cleanliness in certain ways, but it wasn't necessarily as talked about as prudishly in the same way. And so you have all these people kind of saying, well, hey, can we just kind of go back to, we were the first religion that talked about divorce. That was never on the table. We were the first
to be cool with it.
Yeah. Which
interesting.
It's the divorce contract, the concept of the prenup, essentially. It's like there are terms, and that was radical. That was, I think if you read any of the accounts of the British going in, they go, these kind of sex crazed Muslims, they get divorced, they go around, they do this, they do that, they make all these agreements, and then they have sex. It's like that kind of stuff. And so you kind of, what we're actually experiencing is, and that's the whole thing with like Wahhabism, if you read about any of that, tighter than it was. And so we kind of had that. And then now, so yeah, if I look at what's going on with my grandfather,
it seems like a tough religion to change. Like that seems like, boy, if you want to look at Sunnis and Shias, it's like, well, this is a pretty minor disagreement from what I can do. Fellas from the outside, it seems minor, like somebody's nephew, I think it comes down to. But so I wish you luck with getting it looser.
My whole thing is just getting to the core of what it is, and also what's interesting, if I think about my grandpa and myself or my friends, there is there's some confusion, but there is a benefit to being in America because it's kind of, you could just kind of look at it without the structure of everyone around you telling you it in a certain way where you don't know, wait, is this cultural or is this actually what's in the faith? And so there's a lot of people, especially people who find Islam in America, and Islam's been in America for a really long time. They have a really cool, view of it that I think is
so
very
there's
love-centered.
Does it affect your, like, because again, from the outside in, it's like, it's so misogynist and homophobic and all that stuff, which seems like, I don't even know if it's true, and it also seems to run counter to who you are.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think cultures in general can be, I think people
well, that's the other thing. It's like,
you look at America, it's
Catholic,
like super,
so,
super
like,
misogynist, super this, super that.
Yeah.
I think that tends to be, again, kind of where people and culture are at, as opposed to where faith is at, has been like my, pretty deep understanding.
Yeah. All right, let's do some blocks. Shame. I like that one.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
I think it was, there's this buddy of mine kind of said this to me, and maybe it's just a quote, but, about the difference between guilt and shame. Mm-hmm. Guilt is, hey, I think I'm doing something wrong. Shame is, I am wrong.
Yeah.
And I started really thinking about it as, guilt is healthy and it's helpful. It's a check engine light. Shame is, I actually think I am, anything I don't like about myself, anything I don't do well, anytime I'm, any of the things, super careless, super out of it, super, whatever it is, and just kind of feeling, oh, that's just who I am, and I'm just like damned to that because that's who I am. That's a big, that's where being married has been helpful, because you kind of have someone checking you on, how you're interpreting certain things and how you're doing things. And
what sort of stuff do you take? Is there a category that you take especially hard? Or is it just, well, that's the problem with religion. And this is every religion, is like, it is a guilt mechanism. It's like kind of set up to be a guilt mechanism.
Right now. My friend Amir Suleiman has this great quote. He actually did poetry on the Chappelle records. He's like really great poet. And he had this great analogy where he basically said, faith is like an orange. The rules and that is the orange peel, and the soul and the spirit of it is the orange itself.
Right.
And so the orange can't survive without the peel, but you can't just eat the peel. And that really stuck with me.
I would argue that the orange can survive without the peel.
On the tree? in the elements.
Well,
I don't
it's
think
it's a metaphor. So what I'm saying is, it's how I feel about ayahuasca.
No, and look,
I believe in a central creation force.
Sure.
It doesn't need a peel. I don't need like a outfit and a building and an incantation.
But you do, because you've created a system for yourself where you're journaling, because that's your peel. Right, so you believe in creating your own peel, but you have one. You're not just so you have to have one. In whether it's a literal orange or like what we're talking about. And so the problem with religion right now is it's all peel, and people are just eating the peel, and it's like the oranges have just been left over there.
There's no orange.
And so I think we're just so far from how it historically inspired Renaissances, and it's been this like thing that actually was a really beautiful thing in taking societies from wanderers to agricultural powerhouses. Like there's a level of thing that people need. It's really hard for us to understand the need for it too when we're in a super kind of individualized society where everything's on demand. You don't really need to rely on people in the same way right now. And once you are in situations where you do, you start to realize, man, we kind of need a code. And that's just, and so we're far from being able to, have as much of a thirst, I think, for it in a certain way, and I'm really sympathetic to that, and I see that in my own self, where I kind of realize, I have to check myself on, I'm just kind of doing my own thing, or I'm not really, and I think a lot of my guilt or a lot of my shame comes around just like my own waste compared to what's happening in the rest of the world, where I kind of like look at the things that are just driving me nuts, and it's kind of
your own
harder.
Waste.
Yeah, my own, just kind of, whether it's wasting money, wasting food, throwing things out, whatever. All these things that I kind of grew up with. Hey, there's people going, whatever.
I was actually going to ask you about
really
that.
No,
I'm with you.
I cannot let go of that.
I'm starting to let go.
Yeah.
Meaning it's so overwhelming. And it's so like we're so trapped. Yeah. Like Gia Tolentino has written. She writes for the New Yorker.
Amazing,
yeah, but she wrote a really great essay about like trying not to shop at Amazon.
Yeah,
and just the level of difficulty, and B, it's just a different kind of waste. Then it becomes like more air pollution because it's less streamlined, and there's more box.
Sure.
And just like we're trapped by these. I mean, in some ways, we could unplug from it if we focused on our own austerity, which is where another big religious tenet of like just want less.
Yeah,
it's hard.
It's hard. Nothing's designed for us to do that.
And also, I could literally never buy another thing for the rest of my life, and climate change is still coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then, which I'm like, so I'm going to get more shit. Like, I'm not saying that, but but it is a matter of like, what am I beating myself up for?
Well, that's where, and I think that's the core thing around the shame and the guilt piece, which is basically, I think I take it in this shame place where I basically can kind of convince myself that I am a pretty big leader of climate destruction. Like I could get to that place where I just can really look at myself and go, oh man, me in particular, which is probably a form of its own egotism.
Yeah.
But it's like, I go, oh my God, this is like, what am I doing? And I'll look at my house and we got a new sconce, and I start going nuts, and I go, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to know how much that sconce cost.
Yeah.
That would, drive my
why not give it to charity?
Crazy.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Or like,
I had that though. I mean, I was on tour when, everything latest going on in Gaza, and I put the whole tour up to donate to Gaza. I couldn't take $1, and part of it was wanting to help Gaza, but the other part was what you just said, where I was like, I just can't. This feels insane. I don't know how to be out here making money. Like, I actually don't know. You know what I mean? And that's my own. I don't say that I did that to like be. I'm analyzing what that means. I you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've gotten to a place of like, I'm trying to minimize my own hypocrisy within myself.
Yes.
Like I don't know. Like if I give to charity, it's like I just want to be able to function.
Yeah.
I want to be able to look at myself in the mirror a little bit.
Yeah.
And but the truth is, none of it's justifiable. No sconce is justifiable.
No.
So what is? And then you just go, I can't. It's an argument. It's never ending. And you're not. So wouldn't God want you to have mercy on yourself?
Yes. And that's where that's the thing I got to work on.
Yeah.
Because that in and of itself can be like, whatever you want to call it, a trick of the devil to kind of just take you over this way. Like you can almost lose God's mercy going down this rabbit hole of punishing yourself for what you think God wants you to do. It's the exact point you just made. And then it goes, whoa, hey, so that's the difference between guilt and shame. So guilt just tells you, just look at this. Like maybe you don't need a sconce in every room.
Yeah. What's the, okay, but if to use the code, to use the orange thing.
Yeah.
What is the peel in this scenario? Like what is the proper budget for a sconce? Honestly, that's how you.
It's interesting. We have laws on this too, where there's actually like a formula of how much percentage of what you make that you donate. You know? And it's not, there's nothing that says you shouldn't have nice things, right? It's like we're on Earth. We are supposed to enjoy it. It's not, we're not here to just be kind of self-flagellating and kind of, so there are things. I think this is just some of my personal stuff where that's like my own, I think I wrote down forgetfulness as a block, but that's my own thing where I think I'll get into that, and then I kind of forget the main tenet anyway, or the main thing.
Well, what do you think the main tenet is? And I say that as I'm not a religious scholar by any means, but I'm like, what is because it's taken me a while to get to love. Like, no, we're supposed to enjoy it, or even that, like, enjoy it, or I'm just trying not to be an ingrate at my good fortune.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's love. I mean, I think if you put something nice in your house, it's because you love where you live and you love where your family is and you want them to love it and you want it to be lovely. And it's easier to be in a loving environment when you're not under harsh fluorescence, right? So fine. But then there's a certain cutoff where it's like that. Then at a certain point, it becomes, this is orange peel, what factor of it is greed, is opulence. So it's like, that's why there's things built into the faith of this is what you're going to donate to, people who are needy. Anytime we have a big holiday, Ramadan, Eid, whatever it is, you're feeding people. You're always feeding poor people. When you're fasting Ramadan, if a day you can't fast, you give people food. It's as if you fasted. So it's very much about being reciprocal. And I was reading something, I don't remember what, and I'm ashamed I don't remember who wrote it, but they were kind of pitching how to create some new economic models in America, and kind of putting a certain neighborhood on like a borrowing economy, where basically the guy makes this genius point. He goes, you have 12 houses on a block. You really only need one lawnmower. Why does everyone have a lawnmower? And that to me is the same tenet that I was just talking about, right? It's the same thing, and it just stretches to kind of how we view ourselves in community and having a code together.
Yeah. I'm like, part of me hopes the tariffs will make people go like, I don't need any of it. Like, I will share a lawnmower, or I'll rent one, or like less.
Oh shit, dude, MAGA?
Yeah, MAGA.
MAGA. Huh.
You got to get with this band. And so the thing with shame is.
So shame is you just believe. Yeah, you believe that.
But how have you gotten better at it, or with it?
I'll just sit and be stressed out about stuff, and then it makes me so not present. And then this is where, in my relationship, my wife would be like, "Dude, what are you stressed out about?" And I'll tell her all the stuff that I'm like stressed out, and she's like, "Okay, so can you stop being in your little fantasy land of just hating yourself and doing all this stuff, because I would like to actually just have fun with you right now."
Yeah.
Could you maybe like stop just doing that so that we could actually hang out? And then you start to realize, oh, this is really actually very selfish behavior. This is not, this is not, and there's no point, it's like you're eating yourself alive. So that's the line. So the guilt line just goes, okay, let me just make sure this is under control. And then the shame part, we kind of, it spirals out, and then you're kind of just navel gazing or whatever you want to call it. But it then becomes very hurtful, I think, to people around you.
Yeah. It's also, but then there's also like, when are you just a lazy person?
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. I think they advertise every episode now because they know that you guys need help. A lot of men listen to this podcast, and there's men especially need to see therapists. Not just because your girl told you to, or some girl on the street was like, you need therapy, or your mom or your sister. Guys don't talk about our feelings enough. We have them. We have feelings besides anger, which is a big one, but we have other ones. So, deal with the why you're angry. Just get to your issues, why you're sad, why you feel lonely, whatever. All your stuff. Go in, talk to somebody. A therapist will probably be the most helpful. I know in my experience that's what happened. And then I could actually talk to guys more about it. Basically, like, I felt like I was the first one of my friends to go to therapy, and then I could like bring therapy talk to the male friendship group. You don't have to like qualify for therapy. Like, I think I'm officially allowed to go to therapy. You can go. Just try it out once. Try BetterHelp. With over 35,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works with an App Store rating of 4.9 out of 5 based on over 1.7 million client reviews, and it's convenient. Here's the call to action. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/Neal. That's BetterHelp.com/NEAL. What's the deal with you and your razors? You still using the same one since high school? The one your brother used, and then you were like, I don't know, I guess that's what our family uses. Whatever, whenever you started shaving grade school. I don't know if you're a hairy person. I was late. I was a little late. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about House of Atlas razors. Guys, House of Atlas is the newest shaving brand on the block from the creators of Athena Club, a leading woman's razor my lady swears by. That's true. So, yeah, they know what they're doing. It's hands down the best looking razor I've ever owned. Sleek, weighted, premium, but more importantly, shave is next level. 5 precision engineered blades and high performance serum strip the glide smoother than anything I've ever used. All right, here's my personal endorsement. All right, I only really shave my neck, as you can see. So what I can tell you is it was great. It didn't cut me. That's kind of all I'm looking for. It didn't take a lot of, over and backs. I just voosh, voosh, voosh. Like, I used all their products. I don't know if I couldn't video it because I wasn't going to my girlfriend like, come on, video me, whatever. Come on, you should watch me shave. It looks excellent, the razor. It looks excellent, as you can see right here. The blades are stabilized and don't bend under pressure, which a woman in the studio here just told me women's razors bend under pressure, and that's a lot of women use men's razors. Whatever. Also, they got a real nice shaving cream. It's a thick formula that shows me where I'm shaving and leaves my skin baby bottom soft. I didn't know where that was going. Baby bottom soft. Their aftershave is awesome, too. It doesn't burn like old school aftershave, so that none of that movie where the kid did it and he went, But it does have a nice cooling sensation, so that's nice. And now, for a limited time, they're offering 20% off site-wide plus free shipping at houseofatlas.com. Just use code NEAL at checkout. That's HOUSE of Atlas, ATLAS.com with promo code NEAL for 20% off everything. Stop wasting money and time on shaving products that don't look good, aren't effective, and cost way too much. Visit houseofatlas.com today. Trust me, you'll love it as much as I did. Sugar.
Yeah.
Go.
I mean, dude, this year I was off sugar for 6 months. And then
bread, like how specific?
It was really like white sugar, processed sugar.
Yeah,
because I was a candy addict. And then it was my birthday, and they got me a cake. Yeah. But my wife was like, "Oh, I don't think Ramy's gonna have the cake because he's just been really good on his no sugar thing." And I was like, "Dude, it's my birthday. It's like, come on, I gotta have a piece of cake.
Get off!
I have a piece of cake.
God damn it!
Best piece of cake I've ever had in my life. Since it just opened the floodgates. Like, I mean, just like if I'm feeling tired, if I'm feeling anxious, if I'm feeling whatever. The reason I stopped in the beginning was because I live in New York, and so I would go to the bodega, and what they do there is they open up the gushers and the fruit by the foots, like they get the big box from Costco, and then they'll sell you individual
Lucy's,
fruit by the
singles,
foots.
Yeah.
Lucy's. Literally go get a Lucy gusher, fruit punch, a Lucy fruit by the foot, you know, strawberry tie-dye. And then I kept leaving my house. I be like, all right, cool, I'm just going to get 2. It's $2. To get $1 each. They're really making a killing on this box. And then I go home, I eat it, and be like, that wasn't enough. And then I convinced myself that
you're getting your steps in?
I'm getting my steps in.
I see. This is a guy who likes to rationalize things himself. Yep, go ahead.
So, and it's just never ending. And the sugar is so representative of just I just am this little like,
sugar's
feel like this
incredible.
It's amazing.
It's incredible. I do I one day a week.
Wow.
All Sunday.
Wow.
I almost don't eat normal food.
You're just eating
cake,
candy,
ice cream cones, cookies.
I might try that.
Try it.
The 1 day a week.
Yeah.
Because I was good for this. I'm telling you, 6 months, and I didn't even want it. I got to a point where I killed it, and I read this book about biomes. It was just like, let it ride out for 3 weeks, and you kill it. And I had that piece of cake. But part of me, maybe it is that.
What happens is Monday you're jonesing. I do it Sunday. So, and then Monday I'm jonesing too. And then by Thursday I'm straight.
But it really, I feel out of and it's never enough. Like I eat a whole.
Well, to me, there's no crave. I mean, it's like candy and sex, or like the cravings I have, because I'm not much of a drug person. That I need to get, and if you eat it, you'll want it.
Dude,
there's no getting around it.
And I get a whole, and I don't know. This is something my wife. There could be a sweet treat in the pantry. She won't touch it. She'll be like,
I know.
I'm just like,
and
if
you're
it's
like,
in the house,
yes.
It's a wrap.
Yes.
Like even from the morning. Like, and I feel
the
rabid.
Greek story of like the sirens and whatever. Yeah. And at one point the guy's like, we can go past them. Tie me to the mast. I cannot resist them. Tie me to the mast. That's how I feel with sugar. Like I can't have sugar in my house.
Yeah. Yeah.
In my house?
Yeah.
No, I can't be trusted. And you also have to know that about yourself.
Yeah.
And not be like, I'm pretty different.
Yeah, no.
I'm in a new phase. There are no new phases.
There's no new phases. It's just you've learned what your system is to kind of deal with the thing.
Yeah, like now that I'm gonna do this. How am I gonna handle this?
You know, I think I knew this about myself since I was a kid. So I've never touched alcohol. I never even tried it because I knew I would never stop.
Really?
I could feel it. I just knew.
Interesting.
I knew. I said, "Oh man, that," because I liked how the bottles looked. I think alcohol bottles are super artistic.
They don't taste like that though.
I know, but they're
aesthetically they're great.
I could get into just like holding the thing.
I would argue the aesthetic appeal is a testament to how bad it tastes.
Like they gotta kind
wouldn't
of fluff
be necessary.
It up.
Yeah,
it's like makeup.
Yeah,
for how
it's absolutely makeup. Cocaine comes in a fucking shitty bag. You don't need it's a shitty fucking orthodontist bag. It's like, here's the bag for rubber that we normally put tiny rubber bands in here. And we're like, what is this? I don't give a fuck.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
It's like the Chinese restaurant with the shit font and the bad service. And you go, oh, this is going to be amazing.
Be wonderful. Yeah.
They're not.
At first.
Not later.
So you've never been tempted to drink like as an adult?
No. Does
Islam forbid it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a, but you know, it's such a, man, that's,
yeah, that's I don't like it that much. So
yeah, and
also my dad was an alcoholic, so I'm just like, no, I don't think.
Why?
This isn't gonna help.
Yeah.
All right, you have your right ankle, which I like. No one's ever had that on here.
Dude, I wrote it because and it was so interesting. I wrote it this morning and like I sent it, and then I literally twisted my left ankle like 2 hours later. I was on the sidewalk. I stepped into a pothole and I just literally fell and like twisted my thing, and I had to go. I just was icing it at the hotel. And I said, what did I even bring into my life? But I never rehabbed my ankle properly.
What happened to it?
I basically, so this is like, I just have this terrible relationship with exercise. And it makes me feel so good when I do it. And I can be super streaky and do it. And then I just stop one day because I have some reason. And I'm so off, you know? And so I kind of came back out of nowhere during COVID, you know, whenever we're all sitting around. I said, let me go out and play basketball. I go out and I just start playing as if I've been playing, you know? Tore 3 ligaments in my ankle. I never rehabbed it properly.
Adult sports injuries are so funny to me,
dude.
Because they're just
like,
like just do something else. To get on an elliptical, just do. I mean, I guess you.
I'm only elliptical now. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I'm only, but like that, and I never rehabbed it properly.
Did you scream?
I didn't know. I was just like, this isn't good. Like I knew right away.
Yeah.
I was like, something bad just happened.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just, I had the brace, but I didn't do.
Did you have like the wheel?
No, it was just the big fat brace that you kind of put on it. And I was kind of hobbling around.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was rehab I was supposed to do that I never did. And this was 5 years ago and it still hurts.
Sorry to hear. Sorry to hear.
But like I haven't, like I should just go
have
take
it
care
looked
of it,
at.
and I don't.
Yeah.
And so it's just this like thing with taking care of my body, and this will happen with my teeth too, where I'm like, I'll have just like a tooth pain, and then I'll just take some Advil and I'll floss it, and then I'll just kind of be like, I hope this goes away.
Hassan Minhaj doesn't brush his teeth some nights. He told me on
crazy.
here.
It'll happen 5 to 7 days out of the month.
Fuck. That's the creepiest thing anyone's ever said on this podcast.
He also seems so clean and like polished. Like I couldn't imagine that he didn't brush his teeth.
It's a shock. I may never get over it.
Yeah.
What are your goals for yourself? Not artistically. Like, what do you want from your life?
I want more presence. Like I want to be able to be less plan E and less, because I think it's such a career thing to be like, okay, this year I want to try and finish writing this, do this, do whatever. And I kind of just want to actually have as much time as I can where I'm actually just really present and really there. And
what is that though? Meaning, when I hear about presence, there's an amount of presence that a person can have that they become like, it's like, you ever be in a long car ride with somebody who doesn't talk and you're like, yo. So there's somebody who's so present that they're like, just fucking eye contact and like nodding and just like, you gotta help me. So I'm still wondering, what is the sweet spot between like keeping the ball going?
Yeah.
And I don't know, like how much thought is too much, or you know what I mean? How much empathy, how much of like your brain telling you to say something?
Stand-up's been such a good teacher for me, analogy-wise, all the time. And I have this thing where I actually can go on stage and I can have bullet points of what I know I want. Oh, dude, your thing. Every day I think about your thing where you talk about how a joke is the best when you say it the first 3 times. And I think that's present. I think about it every time I go out to do stand-up. I think about you and saying that. But there's this thing I have so much fun doing where I have the stuff I kind of written down, but then there's these moments where I really look out at the crowd and I'm really just ready to go wherever. So it's actually, I'm a tent.
But
and
is that right?
And I'm ready to dance.
That
and
might just be performance
anyway.
though.
No, it is, but I think there's a way to do it. I've seen people do it in real life where they're just kind of going with the waves of wherever things are going, and there are people who I know, the couple of friends I grew up with who are really good at this. And what it tends to be is, it is a few people I know who are very, a friend of mine is a mother, another friend of mine is a doctor, another friend, but they seem to be really settled with the choice and like the role that they have in their life. And then when you hang with them, it's like there's no floating checklist behind them. They're just kind of like, what's up?
Yeah.
You want to go get that? You want to go to the bookstore? Let's go to the bookstore. Like, and it's not just because you're there. Like, that they kind of have their shit together where it's like, this is the time where I deal with all the hectic Post-it notes and the flying darts. And then now I'm here. And there's a few people in my life who have that. My wife is really good at doing it. And then you kind of go, oh, whoa. Yeah, I want to be like that. Because it's really, I don't want to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
I don't want to be,
I know.
Sometimes I feel like I'm scheming. Like I'm like, ooh, and then I can like write that.
Yeah,
and I can do this. And then I can kind of like, it's like, hey,
or your
I just
problems, or your
it's either the
neuroses,
shame spiral stuff, or it's like, oh, I could start a business. And it's like, I want to turn off the survival instinct and just kind of chill,
Yeah, but that's again, what's a personality?
But some of it is like, it's so funny. My friends came to Cairo for my wedding, and they were just in this like whole city, and they oh, we get you.
Is it ADD? It's ADD city.
It is.
Yeah, that's what it looks pretty like.
It is just, and that's why I love New York.
Yeah.
I was
Did
here
you
for 10
like
years.
ever live in Cairo?
No, I never did, but I swear it's just in my DNA because it's how my dad moves. My dad moves like, my dad was a tour guide in Cairo. So my dad moves like a dude in Cairo, and I move like a dude in Cairo. Even when I was in school, I could never sit still. I mean, I had to go in the hallway. I had to go to the bathroom. I had to walk around. I'd invent some reason. I won student council so that I could then find reasons to just move around and be, I have to go do something for student council. Like whatever it is, just to keep moving. And people would always go, dude, you always have like your bag, like you're going somewhere. Like, do you go to the school? You know, it's like one of those. Like, it's like one of those.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that is really, it is, I love it. I love that kinetic thing, and it's a big part of my creative life. But when it's always happening, then you hit these. That's then when I hit like the sugar wall or the shame wall, because it's either, it almost feels like there always has to be turbulence, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. It is a bit like, I think what makes comedians great and also annoying is like it feels like prepared. Do you know what I mean? Like it feels like it feels like a prepared monologue, even if it's not. It's just like a concern or a thing I'm thinking about, and then it comes out with too much like force. For a conversation. But at the same time, it's like what makes comedians funny.
Why my brain. It's kind of 80% based.
Yeah, I would just say like don't go too hard with presence, because you end up just being like a new age goofball. Honestly, it's just like at what point, and then you're just contributing nothing. I mean, again, it's like, what's a personality? What is a worthwhile personality?
Dude, the amount of times I look back on something like, I just be, man, I was so annoying. Just playing back something going, oh my God.
I regret almost everything I've ever done. I mean, kind of. Like, I can't watch. If I do one of these, I'll like, but like if I'm on TV, like the first time I watch it on mute.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm not just gonna. It's too weird to begin with, and I'm like, let me ease into what I did.
Yeah.
Let me see if on mute I'm ashamed. Then we'll turn it up a little bit, and then listen, and then we'll go full volume and be like, okay, no, it's good. It's good. Because the shame, but again, and also what are morals other than just like a shame trigger? That we need them, but at a certain point you're trapped. In some ways, we're all like, it's like Schindler's List, where it's like, we're doing stuff, but like, still millions of people died. Like we could have done more. Schindler. It's the conclusion. It's like I could have done more. It's like it's like I could have recycled more.
Yes. Yeah.
And am I ruining life? Are you ruining life by having a moral code?
Well, it's interesting because you kind of you did it earlier when I was saying something, and you kind of said, but don't you believe that God has mercy, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that there are,
and the truth is, I don't know. This is one of these things of like, I don't know what the appeal of these religions say. I don't know.
That is 100%. Like the opening line is, in the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, right?
Right.
And then it's interesting because I do think that.
But all the things it has mercy on me for were rules I was trying to follow.
But
do you know what I mean?
But I mean on a level, but I also think that part of that mercy is like unconditional love. There is this level of unconditional love, and I do think that we are. I think that even the thing we were talking about with thinking about creating art on the scale of 10 years. I think if you look at the way that a practice sits for a generation, you kind of say some generations need a bit more tightening of, hey, like being super strict on this. Mm-hmm. And if some generations need, okay, you guys are a little like, you've been eating a lot of orange peel and you need to really look at this like mercy love part. And I think that that's where the question you asked me about my grandfather's Islam and my Islam, it's not that they're different. It's just a bit like, what piece are we zoning in?
Do you think it's calibrated well at all? Because I would.
No. We are. Nothing is calibrated right now anywhere. No one's calibrating anything
like,
right.
What do you?
Hollywood's calibrating nothing right. I mean, it's even. This is the question. It's like, okay, is religion good? Is religion bad? Is Hollywood good? Because on one level, I could look and say, all that's happening, there's a bunch of people getting raped, there's a bunch of pedophiles, there's a bunch of greed, there's a bunch of this, there's a bunch of that. But then you have people go, no, but dude, I just worked on a movie set where I was so creatively satisfied, right? So
that to me is Hollywood's not even shouldn't even be in the conversation. As like as a righteousness vehicle.
No, it's not about righteousness. It's more about like the way that people get together, right? And I still think every system right now is not calibrated and completely out of whack.
Yeah.
And there is this there's an inherent kind of strict meanness from all sides, whether it's, this person being super racist or this person kind of basically saying, oh, I heard this one person one time say something that's out of line of like what the moral code is and never, canceled, whatever it is. All of it is kind of just this, very unfluid conversation. And
it's extreme permissibility and extreme impermissibility. Yeah. Like it's all stupid.
Everything's colliding.
The idea, when do you think it was calibrated? Like when you're talking about your grandfather
I don't know that it was calibrated in his era either. I mean, and I don't know, I think that there are probably periods of calibration that occur, in small bursts or certain things that are really beautiful. But I think society is just constantly pushing itself this way and that way.
Like I'm driving on the way over here thinking about you and thinking about morality and just being like, if you're not, it's just, if I'm recycling and not great to my girlfriend, don't bother recycling.
Yeah.
Or break up with my girlfriend.
And it is wow. It is one or the other.
You can't do both.
Wow.
Hey, it was fucking great to hang out. And really
dude,
great catching up, buddy.
So much fun.
It was great
man.
to do.
Thanks for having me.
Congrats on the shows and everything. The shows are really fun.
Thank you, man. Thank you.